going to be why you see a few more Cowboys than normal at the game.
Rochelle Lene, by the way, Country Star, did the national anthem tonight, so people got a little mini concert from Country Star already.
She's going to be doing her thing at halftime, too. Section 128, I believe I saw.
Here we go with Garrett Lindholm out of Tarleton State in his 4th season with a kickoff, and Ings is back deep. It's off the screen. Ings has got it. He's across the goal line and escapes a couple of tackles, but then he's dragged down just across the 5-yard line. I think they'll spot it at the 6, and it'll be a 1st and 10 for the Storm, moving left to right in this first quarter. The Storm in their blue outfits with the gold trim, the Voodoo in white, black helmets with the red and purple trim.
Roger Jackson, we mentioned the rookie receiver for New Orleans, made that tackle, and he's, a newer guy for them, making an imprint. He's fired up there. Again, this is a team that lacks for confidence when things go badly, but they're going great right now.
Jason Boltus back for the pass, and it's complete. And he gets his first pass in there.
Emery Salmons.
Salmons. Okay, I didn't even see him on the lineup. He wasn't on the chart here. Emery Salmons, who is a 6'0", 200-pounder out of Northern State.
Getting the start tonight ahead of, it looks like, Kendrick Ings.
Yeah, apparently so. Boltus back, pretty good protection, and complete all the way down. T.T. Tolliver with a little running room takes it deep into New Orleans territory to the 13-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Storm. Tolliver got himself wide open on the right side near the wall.
Yeah, he found a nice big 10-yard gap in New Orleans' zone there, and it seems like it's been a while since we've gotten to call an exciting play on offense when it mattered anyway,
Ain't that the truth?
Jeez, that last week.
Already a 7-0 game here as Beavers return the kickoff for a touchdown, and Tampa Bay trying to tie it up now. And looping around it in motion is Julius Gregory, and the pass into the end zone. And Gregory's trying to get a call on that because he got his legs tied up with the cover guy. And let's see who the cover guy whose number isn't on the chart either. Let me see who we got there. Cameron McGlynn. Cameron McGlynn, who again is not on the chart.
Well, he was listed at Jack linebacker, not to be confused with Jack Harris. And instead, they're going to have him in his more comfortable spot in the secondary. Moving into Jack linebacker, by the way, number 21, great name, Boubacar Sissoko.
Boubacar Sissoko. Boltus is back, throws, and the ball is bobbled and dropped by Emery Salmons, the rookie out of Toledo. No, check that. He's the one out of Northern State.
Yeah, Salmons is an experienced player. Storm brought him in a few weeks ago. His first and only catch of his first game was a touchdown catch. And then last week, part of the very frustrating day for the Storm, just didn't get on the same page. Didn't hear anything about Kendrick Ings, who's been the number 2 receiver behind Tolliver, not playing tonight. But, well, he's not playing right now.
Tolliver, the motion
man. He's listed as a starter. He's not playing.
Coming through the slot on the left side. Boltus drops back from the 13-yard line, and we got a flag immediately. Somebody moved on the offensive line, apparently, and that'll send him back 5 yards, and it'll be a 3rd and 15.
Offside. Offense number 1. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So a 3rd and 15 now once we get the marker moved. This becomes a pretty critical play right now. They got another shot at it.
Correction, 10-yard penalty.
It's a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say that's much better than the high man in motion offsides of 10 yards, but it turns out to be 10 yards as already we have an equipment situation with big offensive lineman Ben Osai, who's having to get something look like his leg wrap. Maybe he has some loose gear there, but right now the offense is a little loose.
This is tough. They got to get it down inside the 3. It's a 3rd and 20 from the 23-yard line. Boltus is back. And under pressure, he throws it. And was that complete or incomplete? That was complete. It was a catch at the 15-yard line, but they're still going to have now a 4th and 12 from the 15.
Well, it makes it a little bit more possible now because essentially you can't mess around. You have to go for the end zone. You can't throw underneath and hope they get the first down. Actually, a very good last-second decision by Boltus to throw the ball almost as an outlet to T.T. Tolliver, even though, again, it wasn't going to get him close to the first down. And he got his hands underneath that ball right on the sideline.
So here we come with a big play. 4th and 12 from the 15-yard line. Back is Boltus. Good protection this time. Lots of protection, and off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Gregory. We got a flag down, though. Maybe they'll get to do it again.
Yeah, he was held up the whole time, and they caught it. He was held up the whole time.
That'll be a first down.
By number 1.
Defense number 1.
That was very
5-yard penalty.
catchable.
Automatic first down.
So they get a big break on that from the penalty.
Yeah.
Correction, 10-yard penalty.
And you almost consider that a break, but Stubbs, that was his mode of defense the whole time, was to grab Julius Gregory as he came across and hope that it didn't get noticed. So, you know.
Well, the ball is spotted.
It's not the way to do it.
7-yard line now. It'll be 1st and goal for the Storm. And let's see if they go to Garrison Ushery. Is he in there now? Yep, Garrison Ushery is in at fullback. I think they'll try a couple of passes first here. And for sure, and that ball was knocked down by Boubacar Sissoko. Boubacar Sissoko got it.
Can't get enough of that name. Do I not know? Is there a song called Boubacar something?
I don't think so. I'm just thinking of being in a someplace and hearing music.
Boubacar Sissoko, by the way, just brand new to arena football. He's played for the PIFL. Inexperienced, but made a nice play there.
So 2nd and goal from the 7. Boltus is back, got the protection, and throws, and off the fingertips, and that was a pretty tough one, and that was Julius Gregory again trying to reach out and grab that one. It's going to be a 3rd and goal.
He throws the ball and tries to time it out so Tolliver's able to dive for it, but good coverage.
Tolliver.
Good coverage by Cortez Stubbs, who got whistled for the 4th down penalty. If there is a strong part on the New Orleans team, Jack, it is that secondary. Guys that are all experienced back there. McGlenn, Belton, and Cortez Stubbs to a lesser degree, but all experienced.
Yep. So here we go with Boltus. He's back throwing, and touchdown, Tampa Bay. And it's caught by Julius Gregory, the rookie. And Tampa Bay with a chance to tie it up on the extra point try by Craig Peterson.
What a welcome sight that was. That was a Philadelphia play, something that the Storm haven't run that much of, and that is it's going to be there no matter what, slant underneath, and let him go in advance for the first down, in this case the goal line. And that was a nice job because Gregory didn't have that touchdown secured in it per se. He had to do a little bit extra after catching that ball, and he did.
Here's the extra point try, and it's good, and we got us a tie game here with 7:57 to go in the first quarter. It's 7 apiece, and this is Storm Radio.
Lightning fans, there's
Yep, certainly did. He took it with him all the way down there.
He's not the biggest guy. You don't want him. He's listed at 5'11", 180, but he just looks a little teenier in there, like he's gone on a weight loss program since they had him at 180.
Yeah, he's very close to Ings' size, and Ings at 5'10", 180. Here's the kick, and Beaver takes it out of the air, and this time he is surrounded, and they swarm on him here and drop him at the 6-yard line. Much better way for the extra special teams here to perform for the Storm.
Keep an eye on the other games for you, as we always like to do. 2 of them going on right now. Again, Orlando's already won, so the Storm come into the night 2 games behind in the standings. Don't want to fall too far behind them Predators, but Philadelphia trailed at halftime, scored to start the second half, is up 24-21 on Vegas. They're going to get that top seed in the conference.
First and 10 at the 6-yard line at their own 6. Pass out in a flat pass out there, and a nice catch up to the 10-yard line. And you got to turn them around here to see who it was. Was that?
Well, it was Nick Addison making the tackle. He's getting his first start, actually his second start, first since the opening week of the season, Jack, the kid from Spoto High School.
That was Johnny Lester on the catch out of Minot State. Remember Minot? Why not Minot? Quarterback years and years ago.
So it's Addison out there instead of Shelley the second.
2nd and 6. Back is Reeder. Reeder runs with the ball, tucks it, and boy, he gets dumped unceremoniously after a 1-yard gain.
Well described. He was going to get tackled the whole time, but it was completely unceremonious because he flipped up in the air thanks to Rick J. Hill.
Rick J. Hill sent him asunder. 3rd and 5 now from the 11.
Oh man, we got a lot of youth groups out here. I just saw a young lady with an Antioch Redskins shirt. Antioch out there in the East County. And I guess they're not politically incorrect out there.
Brian Reeder in his 3rd season. And throws. It's complete on the far side, and breaking away from one tackle is Roger Jackson out of Arkansas Tech. He's one of the rookies, and they get a big first down out to the 20 of the Storm.
Yeah, he came on last week with 6 catches for 122 yards. Puts Jackson second on the team in both receptions and yards behind Chris DeVault, the Lake Gibson kid. So if DeVault does something, you hear some cheering, it's because I hear he's got 30 people here watching him play. Family members and friends.
1st and 10 from the 20 of the Storm. Reeder looking, finds his man, and it's picked off by the Storm. And coming back with it is James Harrell. Harrell still has the ball. He's going to get a touchdown. We got a flag back here, though.
You're right about everything except for the touchdown part.
Yep. It's going to come back, apparently.
But still a great pick by Harrell. That was not easy.
That guy could be a wide receiver easily.
The ball was floated a little bit by Reeder. Again, we think this is going to be a block in the back on the return, but the Storm still get the stop. They'll have to work their way into the end zone instead of have it already done for them by the pick 6.
Now let's see what the call's going to be here now.
Taking their time getting the mark, and the Storm will be inside their own 10. But again, they've got the stop. That's the big news.
And the referee going over to check with the other officials.
All the facts and figures.
After the interception, illegal block in the back. Returning team number 94. 10-yard penalty. First down, Tampa Bay.
And so that was Everett Dawkins that committed the infraction.
That was not an easy interception.
What a great catch by Harrell on that thing.
That was a flat-out block.
Yeah, that was a big block in the back. And that happens when you get in a situation like that, when defenders turn into offense all of a sudden. They're not used to that kind of thing.
Well, they usually don't get a chance to hit anybody that's not waiting for it.
Yeah.
Unless it's the quarterback, which would be nice.
So the Storm at their own 7 now with a 1st and 10. And again, they get the big stop and take advantage in the edge in this game. And this ball was basically thrown away as Boltus was fading into the end zone, and he was about to be nabbed back there. What could have been a safety if they'd have gotten him. There's a hold there. Wow, I just saw it on the replay. A big hold on one of those defenders. Grabbed him by the jersey. Fortunately, nobody saw it, or that would be half the distance again to the goal.
And Kendrick Ings is in the game now.
So it's a 2nd and 10 from their own 7. Somebody jumped, and we got an offsides, and the ball is squirted away and out of bounds, fortunately. Or that would have been a... Well, let's see.
No, it's definitely going to be a defensive penalty. And you can tell by the fact that New Orleans not celebrating, and nobody on the team signaled safety, because that ball was knocked out of the back of the end zone.
Knocked out of the back of the end zone, which would have been a safety, which would have really been tragic. After you get the stop, you don't want to blow it like that.
Defense number 99, not in 3-point stance. 5-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
I'm going to defend Anthony White for not getting in a big three-point stance. That's a big guy. It's a pain in the butt having to get down like that. I'd rather be up on the 2-point stance all day long myself. By the way, new fullback for the Storm, Garrison Usry, let the linebacker Roosevelt Falls scot-free on that play.
Here we go. Boltus throwing on the near side, and it's complete to Emery Sammons. Sammons, 6'0", 200-pounder.
First down. That'll work.
Yep, gets them a new set of downs at the 18-yard line, their own 18. And again, moving left to right here at Amalie Arena as we observe it from here.
One thing that Lawrence Samuels has been able to enjoy tonight is the ability, as he always does, to coach the offense, call the plays, be on the field, but not have to do the defense. We'll explain in a little bit.
So here we go with the 1st and 10 from their own 18. Back is Boltus. Boltus rolling out to the right side, and now he's going to run with it, and he gets knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 5. That'll take it to the 22-yard line. Maybe 4. We'll call it 4 or 2nd and 6.
Yeah, as you probably know, we're not going to get into the details, but the defensive coordinator, Chris Hovan, arrested DUI a couple weeks ago, and last week Samuels was on the field the whole time, calling offense and defense. Well, tonight he's, and during the course of the week, told defensive backs coach Michael Fegan, hey, it's your defense right now. So that means he gets to talk to the offense while the defense is on the field. He said that hurt last week against Philadelphia, the inability to do that.
Oh, definitely. We got a 2nd and 6 now. Boltus throwing on a crossing pattern. Beautiful play to Ings, and Ings gets him a first down at the 14-yard line of the Voodoo.
You certainly have dialed up some crossing routes today, and good job by Ings. He's a speedy guy, but also securing the ball. That was the big problem last week. Even though he didn't fumble, he's done it a couple times this year, and that is something that's crept into the Storm's game just a little bit recently, and that is looked like he got something going well and then dropped the ball, get it knocked out. Cameron McGlynn actually gave him a good pop there, but Ings held on to it.
1st and 10 at the 14. The Voodoo 14. Ings the motion man on the left. Good protection for Boltus. Rolling out, looking, and it's caught, and it's a touchdown for Tolliver. In the front corner of the end zone on the right side, Tolliver jumps up, grabs it, takes it down, and a little traffic there, and the Tampa Bay Storm have taken advantage of the fact that they got a stop on New Orleans and scored on that opportunity.
Tell you what, that was not an easy play. Tolliver, in the end, it looked easy because he just jumped up, turned around, and was in the end zone, but he was draped by Cortez Stubbs, and again, pressure by the Mac Roosevelt Falls. That's a concern for the Storm against a team that only has 4 sacks this year. They've almost had a couple.
Craig Peterson with the extra point, and the Storm jumps out to a 14-7 lead with 1:38 to go in the first quarter, and this is Storm Radio.
Hello.
And Beavers back there again to receive it.
Well, great start for the defense. They've only had 1 defensive possession, Jack. Got it done.
Yep.
And again, this is a New Orleans team that several times this year has hung around against good opponents, and they just can't keep that momentum once things start to go against them.
And the back of the end zone again does not hit the mark. Here's Beavers, and this time he's tripped up and dropped at the 7-yard line. It's going to be a 1st and 10 for the Voodoo from the 7.
Yeah, New Orleans, we mentioned what happened last week.
We got a player down, and
not look good.
It's for the Voodoo. I can't see.
Looks like a lineman.
It looks like a 53.
And that is not very
Could
good.
be Kevin Oshak.
And you got 18 games. Storm have 2 teams they don't play against this year. I don't get it.
Yep.
But I don't think they're complaining about playing New Orleans 3 times after having
Here we go. A crossing pattern on that one, and it's complete to Roger Jackson, who's taken down at the 15-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and a couple.
2 teams that are not on their schedule this year are Vegas, which, by the way, is
in Spokane,
fallen behind Philly, and in Spokane, Vegas was up on Philly at halftime in Philly, 21-17, but Philly turned the game around with the magical onside kick. They scored onside kick, scored 31-21. They lead Vegas.
And right now it's Brian Reeder, quarterback for the Voodoo, taking them with a 2nd and 2 at the 15-yard line, and they decide to run it this time. Roosevelt Falls, who's 6'2", 250-pounder out of Louisiana Tech in his 2nd season,
and
gets him a first down.
Having to play fullback because of the injury to Ashak out there.
Yep, that's right.
And actually
normally be the guy.
Looking very good on that carry. I'd be surprised. He's got some carries, absolutely. So he's usually the guy that comes in and runs the ball, even though he doesn't start on the line. 1st and 10 for the Voodoo at their own 18-yard line. Quick throw, a crossing pattern, good play to Roger Jackson, and he got his helmet ripped off. He's angry about that, too. That angers him.
He wants a penalty called. He's walking around pretty angry, and that thing got ripped right off. And we are at the end of the first quarter, and when we come back, it's going to be, I think, a second or 3rd and 1. Has multiple pronunciations for the city, the other being Louisville and Louisville, and
It's supposed to be Louisville, right?
It was supposed to be what?
Louisville.
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 Louisville. People up there call it Louisville.
Louisville.
Here we go, a pitch out. No, that was not a pitch out. That
faked you
me.
out.
They certainly
Fortunately, you're not playing defense for the Storm because they tracked it the whole time.
Yeah, they sure did. And I think it was Roger Jackson who's the guy that ended up with the ball. I thought he'd given it off to Roosevelt Falls, but Falls went left and Jackson went right, and it was good for only a yard or so. So it'll be a 3rd and 4 now from the 22-yard line of the Storm.
James Harrell, the early candidate for Defensive Player of the Game, made a tough tackle there to keep it from being a first down.
And it is Chris DeVault in the slot on the left in motion. Quick pass, and the ball is deflected, knocked away as he tried to get it to Roger Jackson. A couple of defenders around there got a hand on it. I think that might have been James Harrell that knocked that one away. Let's see on the replay. I can't tell who it was. It was Harrell tried to go after it for an interception.
Al Phillips had the good coverage. New Orleans Reader was trying to go underneath. Harrell could have maybe made a bid to pick it off, but it won't matter if they get the stop here.
This is a big play for New Orleans. 4th and 4 at the Storm 22-yard line, moving left to right. In motion is Johnny Lester looping around to the left side. Reader takes the snap. He's back looking, and the ball again is partially deflected at the line of scrimmage, but there's a flag. And if that's against the Storm, it's going to give them a new set of downs.
I was just about to say they got away with one there, and they didn't get away with one. That was kind of a late flag.
It looks like here it comes.
Holding. Defense number 14.
Oh, boy.
10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Al Phillips commits a hold, and that'll give New Orleans brand new life.
Yeah.
New Orleans not playing that well at all. Tampa Bay's defense playing beautifully, but they blew it on that with a penalty, and
I think
now they got a 1st and 10 at the 12.
If he doesn't make that contact, DeVault's going to catch that ball anyway. So, to be fair, it should have been a first down.
Well, that's the old thing. If you think he's going to score, bust him. Johnny Lester. Lester in motion, and here's a play to a big guy. Again, Roosevelt Falls is really getting a lot of action. This 6'2", 250-pounder in his second season out of Louisiana Tech. He's had the ball several times tonight already.
And now that I think about it, I kind of recall him being a prolific college player. I'll have to look up his numbers and see if it's the same guy I'm thinking of. But Rick J. Hill makes a great tackle there at Jack linebacker.
He's claiming he didn't hit the field, that he fell on Rick J., who took him down. But apparently part of them hit the field. It won't matter. And here we go with a 2nd and 8 from the 10-yard line of the Storm. As Reader takes the snap, drops back, throws it way up into the stands, and Roger Jackson jumped up on the wall like he was going to go out there and catch it. I don't think you can catch him way out of bounds like that.
Yeah, there was no way.
And, of course, one of the fans was able to catch it, makes the big catch, and gets to keep the ball as well.
Yeah, there was no chance anyone was going to catch that,
nope.
Except for a fan. Yeah, that was his first catch of the year for Roosevelt Falls, but he does have 19 running attempts.
And that was on a screenplay that worked a little, but now they got a 3rd and 8 from the Storm 10. Reader sends DeVault in motion, goes back, and again another screenplay to the big guy again, and he is hammered against the wall over on the far side. Roosevelt Falls is wrestled out of bounds, but not before a big gain down to the 4-yard line, and that's going to make it a 4th and 2.
I retract my statement about Roosevelt Falls being prolific in college at Louisiana Tech. He had 4 carries in his 3 years there. He must have been
4 carries. He's had more than that tonight. He's had more opportunities with the ball tonight. Let's see if they use him again here.
Good tackle by Rick J. Hill, as you said, Jack.
The crowd comes alive now, looking for defense with a 4th and 2 at the 4-yard line of the Storm. DeVault in motion on the right, and a pitch out and an end around, and it's going to be a touchdown. Nobody there to stop Roger Jackson from running it in. We got the injury report on Kevin Ashok. He will not come back into the game. They don't say what's happened. Right leg injury. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that play, the pitch to Lester, and you had the only two guys with a chance, the two biggest defensive linemen for the Storm, and it looked like they had the angle. Well, they did have the angle. They just didn't have the speed.
Yeah, that was Lester. I'm mixing up that 18 and 19. Here we go. The extra point try by Garrett Lindholm, and it's good. So we got us a tie game at 14 apiece with 10:36 to go in the first half. And this is Storm Radio.
Anchorage, be patient.
And I love the fact the Lightning and the Storm, and it's that Jeff Vinik crowd influence in which they constantly honor the military here at Amalie Arena. Todd Lewicki and John Franzone and the whole bunch, as the legless Navy veteran makes his way off the field.
His name was David Nicholson.
What was his name?
David Nicholson.
David Nicholson.
He's pretty good out there.
Yeah, he was in Afghanistan from, I think it was 2013 August through April, or 2012 through 2013 August through April, when he was injured there.
It's starting to, the whole Lightning thing is taking control of this whole area of town. I mean, we're hearing thunderclaps outside.
Yeah, big time. That's the thunder for the Lightning. Be the thunder. Here's the kick from Garrett Lindholm. It doesn't have any number on his shirt, and we'll tell you about that later. And in the meantime, coming back is Ings, and Ings is twisted and dropped inside the 5 at the 4-yard line, where it'll be a 1st and 10 for the Storm, who have the edge in the game. They've gotten a one stop that's occurred in this game.
First of all, that end around call on 4th down and 2, that's a pretty gutsy call, I got to say, by Dean Coquino. Secondly, of all the bags, the 29 bags that New Orleans packed on their flight, players, 28 made it to Tampa. The kicker's bag didn't.
His number 10 kicker bag didn't make it, and he got a number 3, but no name on his jersey.
So he is truly a nameless kicker today.
A nameless kicker. Here we go. Boltus throwing to a wide open on this side. Julius Gregory, and he gets a 1st down at the 15-yard line, going up the left side of the field.
The Storm offense looks like it has forgotten and been able to shake off the ill effects of last week. If you're watching this in New Orleans, Storm did not score a point until 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Only had the ball 3 times in the first half, and were actually driving twice, but had fumbles.
1st and 10 for the Storm, moving right to left at the 17, at their own 17-yard line. And Boltus is back. Good protection, going for it all, and it's picked off in the end zone. And coming back with it. Let's see who we got with that ball here.
Cameron McGlynn.
Yep, that's the guy that wasn't on there. Cameron McGlynn as a DB, but he is playing DB tonight.
And that was a heck of a catch by McGlynn, because he could have been as turned around by that pass as much as Kendrick Ings was. And he sticks his hand up there. New Orleans has, just as I said, how the Storm's offense was looking good, gotten back in the game with a great individual effort by McGlynn. Really great catch.
Terrific interception by him, because that was a touchdown pass for sure. Would have been a touchdown pass, but he jumped up and grabbed it. And that negates the stop by Tampa Bay, so they're all even up now, except for the fact that Tampa Bay still gets the kickoff for the second half. That's the only advantage they have right now, as they have the ball with a 1st and 10 at the Storm 19-yard line. Reeder is back. Good protection going into the corner of the end zone. It's a touchdown to Johnny Lester. Lester out of Minot State, the rookie, grabs it in the corner of the end zone, and a quick TD, and that means New Orleans takes the lead at 20-14.
And this is what I was talking about. A team that tends to see its confidence wane as the game turns away from it, and now on 2 straight plays, I'm telling you, this game is on.
Yep,
the Storm are going to have to fight to win it. It's not going to be a blowout. 2 plays, and it's just like that.
And Garrett Lindholm makes it a 21-14 game with 8:28 to go in the first half. And the Voodoo is out in front, and they'll be kicking it off to the Storm.
An LSU shirt in the crowd. I imagine they've got to be either a New Orleans fan or realizing right now, yeah, I probably shouldn't have worn my LSU shirt tonight. I'm rooting for the Storm.
Yeah, we don't have that problem with the Storm that they have with the Lightning and the Rays, and occasionally even with the Buccaneers, depending on who they're playing.
So you said you wanted to be Anaheim because of the fact that they're not going to, a bunch of people aren't going to make that cross-country trek, which I agree with.
And you don't have a lot of people from Anaheim living around here. You got a bunch of Chicago transplants that are still loyal to the Blackhawks, and that stinks. Ings takes it off the screen, and he breaks away through the first line, and it's the kicker that takes him out.
Almost took him right.
Garrett Lindholm whacked him into the wall.
Almost took him right into the voodoo bench. I thought the Storm might have gotten away with the block in the back. Thankfully, it wasn't called because, yeah, actually, Nick Addison held up looking at the replay. Good tackle by Lindholm. I mean, there was no place for Ings to go, and he figured he could just sort of run over the kicker, and the kicker said not really, laid his shoulder into him pretty nicely right before the halfway mark.
5'10" guys don't run over a lot of people. You got to scurry around them. That works better. Here we go.
It's better than screwing around.
1st and 10 at the 23-yard line. 1st and 10, and the throw complete to Ings, and Ings runs into a couple of guys trying to snap that ball away from him, but they'll spot it at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Storm with 7:55 to go in the first half, and they're trailing by 7.
Both teams with a stop now, so technically this game is even though the Storm are trailing in it, and nice to get back on the horse there and look a lot more solidly. I mean, Boltus really just has that one bad pass today, and it wasn't a terrible pass. It just was a great individual effort by Cameron McGlynn to make the interception.
Yeah, that was a good job by Ings holding on the ball, because he had 3 guys trying to strip it away from him as he was trying to go down, and we got flags all over the place, and that's going to be against the Storm, and that'll take him back to the 15-yard line.
79, 5-yard penalty, first out.
So it's still 1st and goal, but from the 15-yard line this time.
Your Chicago wishes aren't off to a good start. The Blackhawks already leading that game.
Well, the good thing about playing the Blackhawks is we got 4 games here and 3 games up there. If it's the Ducks of Anaheim, they got 4 games there and only 3 here.
Yeah, I can deal with the other team having some fans in the stands. We're kind of used to it in Tampa Bay anyway.
Oh, yeah. They know how to cope with it. Back is Boltus. Lots of protection on that one, and into the end zone. What a catch on that play. Julius Gregory with a great catch.
I think it might not count. It was a great catch, but they're going to run and try and kick this snap because I don't think he got his knee down. It looked like he was going to land in the end zone for sure, but I don't think he got either his knee or his leg down.
Well, we haven't seen it on the replay.
And Dean
yet.
Kokinos is looking for a replay, and he's not going to get it, which is a good job by in-house operations
here. They
here.
better snap that ball. Get the ball snapped immediately. And get it done before that red flag comes out, and they got it done. And it'll stick. Whether it was good or not, it's going to stick. The extra point is good, and we got a tie ball game with 6:17 to go. And we'll take a break here. This is Storm Radio.
Stop by and see all of the states.
Should count for something. Of course, if it had gone the other way, I'd be all angry right now. It's probably
So what good is it to play at home if you don't get any help like that? Here's the kick. Beavers back, and that one is through the net and out of play, so they'll take it at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, this game is being televised locally, so I slid on over into their booth to see the replay, and it was close, but I think if you had slowed it down and gotten a really good angle on it, it would have shown that his left knee hit past the end line, and then his left leg did hit inbounds, but after the knee had hit first out of bounds.
Yeah, that looked pretty clearly that way, and smartly they got out there real quickly. Got the extra point try before you could get a red flag and have a look at it. So here goes the Voodoo from their own 5, and in motion goes Lester on the right side, and as he's being hit, what a great catch by Roger Jackson with the defender right around him. And he had Al Phillips grabbed him there and tried to knock that one away and couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was really good coverage actually by Phillips, and first time all night. And this is not a good sign. The first time all night the Storm have gotten really any pressure to speak of on Brian Reeder. Something they were able to do in copious amounts the first meeting with 4 sacks, and that was the first sniff of a sack. And actually, it was the center being pushed back into the quarterback.
And it's 1st and 10 at the 11. And they take down, who was that? I didn't even see how that ball was. Their big guy again, Roosevelt Falls, trying to carry the ball, and he picks up a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8 from the 17.
And it was the FSU man, Everett Dawkins, sliding in for the tackle there from the end, and he's starting to become more and more of a force on that defensive line. Richard Kleebert is the force in the middle, and he has been all year.
The motion man is going to be Lester in the slot, well, on the far left side. And we got motion on the line. Let's see if it's going to be movement on the offensive line, or did a defender jump the line?
Defense number 90.
It's defense.
5-yard penalty.
That'll give him 5.
Second down.
That'll mean it'll be a 2nd and 3.
And now Kleebert better go ahead and tell his USF buddy, Julius Forte, hey, you can't keep jumping off sides, because, 3 of those and you're out of the game.
Yeah.
It's a 3-strike rule, and that seems like it's a harsh penalty, but that's how badly the makers of this game want it to be an offensive game. You don't even want the linemen to even anticipate to get any sort of advantage that way.
Yeah, this game was designed brilliantly, no doubt about it. And again, the big guy gets the call, falls, and he picks up about a yard. It'll be a 3rd and 2 now. Boy, they're really giving that ball to Falls. I don't know how many times he's had the ball either through the air or on the ground.
He had 19 carries coming in, so they are obviously not afraid to do it with him, but I think that's going to be his 5th attempt of the night. And every time it's short yardage, they are running the ball. They do not mess around with any other way to advance it. That'll be his 3rd rushing attempt.
Well, they got 2 more tries at it for this 2 yards. Let's see if they give it to Falls again. Coach Dean Patinas is over there talking to his charges now. Ball on the far hash mark.
Clock starts to become a factor if New Orleans gets a first down here. They can take it down to the 1-minute warning easily.
Yep. And it's an end around, and they get the first down, I do believe. Yep, they'll get it at the 24-yard line just by inches, but they get it as Larry Beavers on an end around.
They like that.
Gets him enough yardage.
They like that play call. Not afraid to mix it up are the New Orleans Voodoo, and that's something we haven't really seen other than, you got your Derrick Ross who's going to run the ball up in Jacksonville. You don't see this much of a variety of called run plays from any other team that I've seen anyway.
And it's going to be Johnny Lester, the motion man, in the slot on the left side as Brian Reeder takes the snap. 1st and 10, and a throw on the far side. Wow, he paid dearly for that. Chris Duvault couldn't get his hand on the ball, and he was clobbered over there. Who was that? Was that
Nick Addison?
Was that Nick Addison that got him?
Making his presence felt. And I don't think Duvault has a catch yet tonight. If he does, I don't remember it.
I don't remember him.
No, he doesn't.
I don't remember saying his name.
And he, again, is the leader in the statistical categories from New Orleans in both those categories.
So it's a 2nd and 10 at the Storm 24-yard line, moving left to right. We're down to 2:06. Here's a throw, and incomplete again. And it was off the fingertips. Wait till he turns so I can see which. Was that the 19 or 18? I think it was Roger Jackson, the 19.
I think they switch jerseys every play just to confuse you even more.
I think they do. It's hard to see that 18-19 because it bunches up under it, and you can just see the top circle.
Phillips makes the play. Harrell goes over to Addison, again, who's just playing his 2nd arena game, and gives him a congratulatory low 5 because he's got his receiver blanketed most of the night.
This will be the last play before the 1-minute mark. And it's a 3rd and 10 from the Storm 24. And Reeder throwing, way overthrowing Johnny Lester well up into the stands, about 5 or 6. Where did that thing hit? It was way up there, looked like. Let's see.
And when the ball gets away from him, it gets away from him.
Oh, it sure does. And that's a good thing. And we will be at the 1-minute warning here, which is when you go to the clock-stopping rules here in arena football. With a score 21-21, and New Orleans with the ball. This is Storm Radio.
Storm fans, the Subway.
But I was with him this weekend. He's now coaching the Washington Redskins. And Jay and brother John and Dad Jim Gruden were all out at the Summer Splash for the Outback Bowl. We were out there last night for a little banquet. Here we go. It's New Orleans on the move. Reeder back, throwing, going for it all, and overthrowing, and they're going to call interference on the Storm.
That's a bad call. That was a sales job. That was a.
It was.
And I'll have to look at the replay to make sure I'm not completely wrong, but it looked to me as though that ball was going to be overthrown, and there was a small bump.
I didn't even see it.
Johnny Lester sort of reacted like, oh, man, I just got bumped off my course because he knew he wasn't going to catch the ball.
And that ball was uncatchable anyway. That ball was uncatchable. Listen to the crowd. They saw the replay, and there was no foul there.
Tell you what, that's big, because that's 4th down. It should be Storm ball and in control, 54 seconds left. Now, as we said, this game is on. This could have been a chance for the Storm to take the lead, start the second half of the ball.
Bad call is going to cream them. If they lose this game, they can look back to that and say, bad call. DeBault in motion on the left side, and it's a pitch out to Falls, the big guy, and he doesn't go anywhere this time, and the ball is forced loose, but they'd already blown the whistle on it, and that's the second helmet that's taken off a Voodoo player, and again, they rip it off Roosevelt Falls, the 6'2", 250-pounder, and timeout is called.
Timeout. Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it makes sense that Tampa Bay called that timeout.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Brandon Cisse really got in there, and I can tell you what, Dean Kokonos, he has no conscience, because he doesn't care that his team got an absolute break on the previous call. He wants to get every call his way. He thought there was a helmet grab there, but actually Cisse had his hands on the shoulder pads around the helmet of Falls and ended up sort of working his way there, and the helmet came off. But, yeah, with 38 seconds left, Jack, even if you keep them out of the end zone, you're hardly going to have any time to score, and that's the problem here for the Storm. They should have had the ball with, 52 seconds left.
Yeah, they certainly should have. And now it's going to be a second and a little over 10 yards, about 10.5 yards here.
Now, let me be clear. It's not like it's the worst call of all time or anything like that. I just think that and it's to his credit, Johnny Lester sold it. I mean, he might have got touched by Harrell, but it wasn't anything egregious, and he sold it. No
hold in any way, shape, or form, and that ball was uncatchable, as it turns out. Back is Reeder, looking into the corner of the end zone, and overthrown, trying to catch Johnny Lester in the corner of the end zone that time.
I think we got bad news.
Harrell was down there covering him again.
A flag, and this is going to work the clock even better for New Orleans if it's against the Storm, which it looks like it will be.
And they're over talking to the officials now. Yep, they're unhappy, so it's going to be against the Storm again. And I don't know if they're making these mistakes or not, but certainly didn't look like Harrell did on the last one. I didn't see this one.
I think it's going to be maybe a illegal defense, because I didn't see a late hit.
We're down to 33 seconds. And that moves the ball 5 yards.
Illegal defense.
That's halfway.
Center pick. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, they just gave him about a 7-yard penalty.
Half the distance.
No, he said it was a 5-yarder, and he got 7 on that.
Either way, the damage was done 2 plays ago. And you hate it, because let the actual outcome of the game be decided by the players. And I think the Storm came up with an honest stop there, and New Orleans used a little chicanery to really help itself.
First and goal at the 8. First and goal at the 8, and they give it to the big guy, and the big guy goes in for the touchdown. Roosevelt Falls goes around the left side and finally gets some little yardage and gets that touchdown. And again, New Orleans takes the lead at 27-21 with 27 seconds to go. The only good thing is it gives Tampa Bay some time, and they have 2 timeouts left to try to come back down and score.
Sure enough. Good play call again there, because, you want to work that clock down. If he goes in, that's a bonus.
Here's the snap and the hold by Reeder, and the kick is good. So it's a 28-21 ball game, and we'll take a break here. This is Storm Radio.
I think he's
I wonder if he's a Blackhawks fan.
Probably is. Absolutely.
He is? Yeah, Steve Versnick says he is. Versnick's a big fan, and so he knows all about him. Here comes the kick. And Ings, be nice to see. Well, no, he takes it out of the air, and here he comes, and he is taken out of bounds. We're down to 25 seconds, and let's see what the Storm can do from, let's see, they're going to mark it at the, is it the 5? Yeah, the 5-yard line. So they got 45 yards to go in 25 seconds and 2 timeouts in which to do it.
Yeah, the fact that they only used 1 timeout on that last drive gives them a realistic chance here where you can do anything you want to. Normally in this situation, if you're trying to get it up the field without timeouts, you're kind of limited to going to the sidelines. Maybe smart to try one over the middle here while New Orleans might not expect it.
Here we go. Boltus takes the snap out of the end zone and throws, and it's off the hands or off the fingers of T.T. Toliver. By the way, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. Next weekend, next Saturday night, they play in Phoenix. We'll be broadcasting that game for you. That's a 9 o'clock start here. And then we're back home against Jacksonville 2 weeks from last night. And Jacksonville is going to be out here on the field before they're on the road for a couple of weeks at Cleveland and Philadelphia. Boltus, we had movement on the line. That'll drop him back a couple.
You know, you bring up Arizona, Jack, and that's a team that has had to get through this part of the season without its star quarterback.
Ball start. Offense, number 51. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Nick Davila due to injury, and I'm sure he'll be ready to play against the Storm next week, by the way. But, you know, New Orleans, again, late in the half, was close with Arizona, and then the Rattlers scored 3 touchdowns in a row. Same thing with Jacksonville last week. Jacksonville was down by a score. New Orleans had the ball. Jacksonville scores the next 42 because of the way things went at the end of the half. And the Storm had that situation, if they don't get called for defensive holding, setting up for them. And now it's completely the other way, and New Orleans has all the confidence.
2nd and 13 out of the end zone. Boltus throws it, and wow. Oh, there's going to be a flag on that. And that was after the ball had gotten by him. That's going to be a break for the Storm. Kendrick Ings.
Well, there was no acting.
Gets hit. No acting. He just got slammed, but that was definitely an uncatchable ball. I want to see that one again.
Yeah, you're right about the uncatchable part.
They're going to get a great break on that play, and that's one you can't call for a replay on.
Now,
so that's a big break down at 17 seconds now, and that puts them in good scoring position, really.
That ball was sailing over the head of Kendrick Ings, and yeah, there was no reason whatsoever for Cameron McGlenn to do that. Now it's only going to be 10 yards, so it doesn't kill the voodoo.
I thought it was going to be, I'm thinking outdoors there where they place it at the place of the foul. Yeah, it's
also you do that when it's in an intentional one, like if he had been pulled down, which he was, and he was just blasted.
Yeah, he got nailed. That was a good call for the Storm. Boltus going for it all, and there's nobody there. They were not on the same page together. Emery Salmons was down in the general area code, but he was on the wrong side of the field.
Maybe in the same area code. Boy, the weather outside is just horrible. It's a perfect night for arena football. I just saw the radar.
Yeah.
It's mostly red in the Tampa Bay area.
Well, let's hope it doesn't rain out Hooters tonight. We get ready to go have our post-game meeting.
Yeah, bite your tongue on that one.
So here we go. Boltus takes the snap. Going for it all again, and it is overthrown. This time the target was Julius Gregory coming down the right sideline, and again,
New Orleans is
third, coming up with a 3rd and 10 now.
These passes that look like they're up for grabs are because basically he's having to get rid of the ball sooner than he'd expected to. This pressure by New Orleans' defense, the big man, 330-pounder listed as Anthony White, is presenting problems for the Storm, more so than any severe pass rush, but he's sort of getting that push and making Boltus make that quick throw.
I think he has to pay property taxes as a building. Here's a pass out to the flat, and they get the first down, but they're going to have to call a quick time. Well, we're down to 2 seconds. It's going to be one more play to go after. Did he get out of bounds, I guess?
Tampa Bay. Second charge out of the half.
Timeout for Tampa Bay.
Timeout.
And so we got one shot at the end zone, and that's going to be it for the Tampa Bay Storm. 30-second timeout here. And if they don't hit it on this one, it's going to be a 28-21 game at halftime. But the Storm will get the kick in the second half.
Oh, yeah. Like we say, I mean, this game, they set it up. Everything was going fine until, and we can't just blame the fourth down defensive hold, which we didn't think was a defensive hold, when it should have been Storm ball, tie game, last minute, take it down, score, start the second half of the ball, everything's great. You know, the Storm actually had the game in their hands before that. Interception, Cameron McGlenn, good pick in the end zone, and then they score on the next play to take the lead. That's why this game is where it is.
So here we go, final play of the first half. No
TT Tolliver, by the way.
Huh. And timeout requested this time by New Orleans. Another 30-second timeout with 2 seconds to go.
This is a 30-second timeout.
I think what he needs, the coaches for New Orleans need to tell their guys is back up. The Storm have to score here. They have to go for the end zone. And right now, the way they're set up, Kendrick Inkson just run right by his man. I mean, you don't want to give them that opportunity. Right now, it looks like it's there for the Storm. I would definitely circle in on Kendrick Ings if you're Jason Boltus here and just at least give him a chance to catch it.
Yeah, you got one of two ways you can do it. Try to throw it to him in the end zone, and you got to get good protection in order to do that for a long pass like that, because they know it's coming. And so they can just unload on that line of scrimmage, or you can try to throw it short to him and then see if he can make his way through the crowd.
Or, of course, throw it off the net, which is the most fun option, but hardly ever
Haven't
works.
seen that in a long time. And that's a pretty long throw, even off the net. Here we go. Boltus is back. Last chance to try, and it's into the end zone and overthrown. Nobody's going to get a shot at that one. Julius Gregory into the corner of the end zone, but Boltus threw it a little too far. So the score at halftime, New Orleans in front 28-21, and this is Storm Radio.
Lightning fans, there's no...
Well, the interception set it up, and the other two, they kept converting fourth down. So if the Storm face and make one of those stops on fourth down, it's a different story right now.
Here's the kick. Ings is back to take it off the screen. He's got it across the goal line to the 5, looking for running room and not finding it. He gets hammered right there at the 9-yard line, and it was taken out by Jerome Raymond, I think his name. Yeah, Jerome Raymond.
I'm looking at this halftime stats, and it says they're 1 of 1 on fourth down. I know they've gone to fourth down 3 times. I guess when you get a penalty, it's not called a conversion. I don't know. But yeah, they've gone to fourth down 3 times, New Orleans, twice in one drive and once in the last one.
So here they go from the 9-yard line, 1st and 10, moving left to right. Boltus is back, throwing on the far side, complete. And a little flat pass over there, and he got it to Julius Gregory, but it's only good for a couple of yards. I'll move the stick up here to the 12, we'll call it the 12-yard line. Yeah, the 12.
Tracy
so it'll be a 2nd and 7.
First time really we've called Tracy Belton's name. Probably won't be the last. He has been around this league now. This is his 6th year. Played for all the Florida teams with the Storm. And now he's with Nolans.
And Boltus with Ings in motion, drops back, looking downfield, and complete to Tolliver on the far side. And Tolliver runs with it, gets it all the way down to the Voodoo 20-yard line. 1st and 10 Storm.
Almost ran into the sideline reporter for the local television network, lovely young lady who is supposed to be neutral but is wearing a purple shirt. And I'm going to guess she didn't know that New Orleans was purple.
Apparently not.
I don't blame her.
So 1st and 10 from the Voodoo 20. Tolliver, the motion man, on the left side. Boltus going for it all to Tolliver, and it's off his fingertips, and the defender went over the wall and hit hard, but he's fine. He hops right back up. Cortez Stubbs.
Oh, he's hurting. He hopped up, and then he slowed down quickly.
Yeah, he's kind of looking like a little hitch in his get along, but he says, I'm okay. I can keep playing.
I tell you what, not to be unsportsmanlike, but I would go right at him on this play.
Good move. Good thought.
Maybe stop short of him because he's not going to be closing on anybody for a couple
Ings
plays.
in motion, slot right back. Boltus throwing and incomplete to Ings. He should have had that one.
Yeah, that's just a faux pas right there, flat out.
Big time. Now it's going to be 3rd and 10 at the 20.
I mean, that ball's right where it needed to be on the outside shoulder of Ings because the coverage was from the inside. And coverage had nothing to do with that. That was just a flat-out drop. Yep. Maybe it's those yellow sleeves. I don't know why Ings is wearing long sleeves for the first time this year.
Well, here we go now with a big third down play. 3rd and 10. Tolliver loops in motion to the slot right. Back is Boltis going for the end zone. Or no, not the end zone, but he gets it to Tolliver. Looped around, back across the field from right to left and takes it at the wall and moves the sticks.
That ball did get deflected. That's why I made a noise. And that was fortunate because I think Tolliver was always going to be the guy that Boltis went for there, but that ball got tipped.
I didn't see it get tipped.
Well, it was fortunately just a very slight, but great job by Tolliver adjusting.
It's 1st and goal from the 8. Boltis back. Got the protection and on the wall on the near side. Gets it to Ings, and Ings will have it in at the 4-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 4.
And the man in the front row's athletic instinct told him to reach out and try and make a catch there. I've never seen a man change course so quickly. He saw a football player barreling out. He's like, oh, God, I'm in the front row of a football game. I need to back up.
Yeah, I think so. Boltis from the 4, back under pressure. The ball is lobbed in. Did he hang on to that ball?
Wow.
Did they say touchdown? Touchdown. It is a touchdown. What a job he did hanging on to that ball. That is incredible, and that was Julius Gregory, and it was down under the wall, so we couldn't see it. And the New Orleans players were saying, nope, it wasn't a catch, but it was declared a catch.
I might have to go next door to the TV booth to get a replay again because I ain't showing that one.
Yeah, you can't. You couldn't see it from here. We couldn't see what happened. He was down under the wall.
Well, the best part of it was he had to go high to sort of corral the ball, and then he still was bobbling it.
Well, the extra point is good, and it means the Storm has tied the game here, and we'll kick it off to New Orleans. And we'll take a break with 10:28 to go in the 3rd quarter, and this is Storm Radio. All the time. The fans get very much involved in it. So here we go. The ball is set up by Craig Peterson out of Portland, New York, the rookie who is one of the best special teams tacklers they've got, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has more than anybody, but he certainly gets in on a lot of them, and you don't want your kicker doing that normally. And pretty good kicker, too. And this one's over. It bounced on the top. It bounced, and everybody's going crazy there now. It bounced on
I've never seen that, Jack.
Top of the... That would have been... He could have kicked a 60-yard field goal on that one.
I mean, that is amazing. I mean,
that was.
Well, 60 would have been the crossbar. That was... What is that? At least 15 feet above the crossbar.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been good from 70, right?
Oh, yeah. That was a whale of a kick. Longest kick I have seen, I think. I don't know.
And that goes to the 20 when you kick it over? That's a terrible rule unless there was a penalty that I hadn't catch.
But again, no, you can't, it's not playable. The ball is kicked in a position where it's not playable. Well, it looks like it would be the same as when it hits in the net and drops out and would come out to the 5. I don't know why they bring it all the way out to the 20. So
we're sitting here saying how great of a kick it was, and
it was out to the 20-yard line.
Good boot, just not a good quote-unquote kick.
Well, one for the ages. Here we go with Lester in motion to the right side. Back is Reeder. And there's going to be is there going to be an interference call? Nope, just an incomplete pass. And no complaints down there by Roger Jackson.
Chicago Blackhawks go up 3-0, by the way. So it looks like they're going to win.
Looks like we're going to have 4 games here.
Starting Wednesday.
Beginning on Wednesday. Now, is there going to be any conflict with the Storm?
Garth Brooks. Not the Storm. The Storm are on the road.
So it is a 2nd and 10 for the Voodoo at their own 20. Brian Reeder's back and lobs a little screen pass again to the big guy Falls. We've had a flag, and Falls picks up a lot of yardage this time down to the 13.
Probably going to be Jack linebacker out of the box. I hope it's a hold, though.
And looks like
it's going to be against the Storm.
Illegal defense.
Yeah.
Illegal twist. Defense number 93.
And
penalties declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And they get it all the way down to the 13-yard line. The ball is going to be at the Storm 13. So the Voodoo on the move with 9:18 to go in the third quarter in a 28-28 ball game. And the Storm has got to buck up here and win this game. And if this one's down, might start looking ahead to next year.
Way to say that before the halfway point, Jack.
And here was the ball deflected. Tried to get it to Chris DuVault on the left side, but it was deflected at the line, and DuVault didn't have a shot at that one.
That was Julius Juju Forte from Bogosiega and USF, who got re-signed back by the team. Played a couple games last year at the end, a couple games this year at the beginning, and actually replaced on the roster Ryan Giddens, who, of course, went to USF and Armwood, but was injured. So right on the line right now in the Cisse spot alongside of Cleveland and Dawkins is Forte.
2nd and 10 at the Storm 13. And they screen over to the near side, and getting good yardage on that one is Chris DuVault. And that'll give him a first down at the 2 or 3 yard line. Let's see where they'll mark it. They're going to mark it at the 2 or 3. It'll be at the 3, 1st and goal for the Voodoo.
Coverage has been so good on DuVault that they try to get him in space there. Probably a smart way to do it. Close. Oh, I thought that was going to be a little shy of the marker, but they give it to him.
Yeah,
close enough.
1st and goal at the 3 now. And their big guy in there falls. Let's see if they hand it to him, and they do, and falls running laterally and gets hit and loses a few inches on that one on the turf.
Yeah, Dawkins with the push there on the defensive line. He knew what was coming, and then Rick J. Hill finished it off and might even get credit for the tackle, but all the credit should go to Dawkins. Incidentally, I realized I didn't finish it. Philadelphia did win its game against Vegas, so they're 9-1. And San Jose won. They're 10-0.
2nd and goal from the 4 yard line, so they lost a yard on that play to Falls. Let's see if they go to him again to the left side. Nope, going to try to throw it in now. Reeder, and
nope.
Did he catch that?
No.
He did.
No.
They're saying no. They're saying incomplete. It wasn't complete. Well, I want to see that again. That
he tried to sell it.
Might have gotten it.
He dribbled it like a basketball player.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that definitely hit the turf.
There are definitely some New Orleans fans here. A guy on the replay jumps up and signals touchdown. I'd say there's probably maybe 50 New Orleans fans here.
So we got a 3rd and goal. That would be great if they could pull off a stop here. That would give them a big advantage with 6:33 to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, there's a lot of clock being eaten up on this drive.
Yeah, they're really using clock. And timeout New Orleans. They're going to blow a timeout here.
Before the clock expired, timeout New Orleans. First charge timeout of the half.
That can't do anything but help the Storm, in my opinion. You want to have those timeouts in your pocket.
Especially in a close game like this. They could end up really needing it. We'll take a break. 6:26 to go in the third period. We've got a 28. That would be a possibility. That might increase the load, so to speak. Here we go. 3rd and goal from the 4. Reeder is back, looking to pass it into the end zone, and
look at Dexter Jackson.
Great protection on that one by Jackson, and that was to the tight end. I think that was Cornelius Dixon. Cornelius Dixon, a 6'6", 345-pound guy.
Nothing tight about him.
No, and a big play coming up here. 4th and goal for the Saints, the Voodoo.
They've gone to 4th down on 2 previous drives and scored both times. Got to make a stop on one of these 4th downs.
Yep, this is the big one. The big one. In motion is DuVault on the left side. Reeder is back. Got lots. Now he's hit as he tried to throw the ball, and they come up with the stop.
Storm going to get called for defensive hold.
Oh, no. That's a 1st and goal at the 2.
Oh, wait. I think they're going to overturn the penalty. Let's see. It's conflicting. Phillips definitely held. He thinks because of the sack, the interference gets taken off, but I think he held. That's the whole discussion right here. If it's pass interference, it can't be pass interference because it was a sack. If it's defensive holding is the discussion, then it's going to get called against the Storm. And I got to say, he held him. He tackled him, Jack. The Storm would have gotten away with an absolute tackle if they don't call this penalty.
And they're discussing it big time.
I think it's got to be a defensive hold.
Holding. Defense number 14. Have the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
It's a good call.
Listen,
you can't do that. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to grab this receiver and hope that the refs don't notice. He grabbed him and pulled him down.
Phillips is the guy that is called for the hold, and that's certainly...
And
well, certainly.
It also shows that we're not, biased, because we said the last fourth down was a bad call. That was a good call. They had to make that call.
Well, here we go, and it's the quarterback trying to get in there now, and he picks up a little of that.
Calm down,
maybe
Rick J.
Yardage.
Rick J's doing the whole, no, not here, but you got 3 more plays to go. It was a good tackle. Good tackle by Rick J.
Yeah.
Let's make 3 more of those before we celebrate too much. Yeah, listen, on the previous fourth down we said where the defensive hold was called, we thought was bad. This one, he absolutely tackled Chris Duval. Had to be called.
Well, here we go from the 1-yard line now. It's 2nd and goal at the 1. See if they go to the big guy, Roosevelt Falls. And the snap and the give to Falls, and
Dawkins.
Falls is dropped.
I think the ball's out, Jack. I think the ball's out.
Ball is out. Let's see if, and they're saying they got it. It's going over to the Storm. Storm's got it. Storm ball. First big, huge break of the game for the Tampa Bay Storm. We don't have any flags down there.
James Harrell recovered it. I think Dawkins definitely made the hit again on Falls. I don't know if he forced it because the ball came out after that. Oh, man, his knee might have been down. Here comes a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, his knee might have been down.
Uh-oh. Boy, that'll just, this audience will go crazy if this doesn't hold it.
Well,
The ruling on the field.
we'll give you an honest outlook.
Sounds ruling on the field of a fumble and a recovery by the defense.
And they're going to go over and take a look at it here now. I think the question is whether or not he was down.
Sure.
And the ball came loose.
It was close. At first glance, I think it's possible that his knee touched, but what that first glance didn't give us is a true sense of where the ball was because it was shielded. Yeah, I think they're going to keep it. I think they're going to keep possession.
Yeah.
The second replay, you really can't see. Okay, this one you'll be able to see. The ball, now there's the key. Was the ball?
Oh, no. That's...
He was losing control.
He was losing control of the ball as it was pretty much gone. I think they'll try to keep that one.
And I'm telling you, it was against New Orleans the first time they played when I thought Kendrick Ings should have not been called for a fumble on a very similar play, because I thought that he had definitely, the ball was knocked out, but then he had regained control before he touched the ground, so we thought it should not have been a fumble. In this case, based on that initial hit where the ball starts to get dislodged, and since it was called fumble on the field, I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because he was losing control as that knee went down. And the officials are looking at it a couple of different times, and I hope they got the same look that we got at it. The TV crew's getting a good look at it over here because they got one of their cameras down there.
Either way, I mean, it's a huge defensive play by Dawkins to get in there like he did. And actually on the Jumbotron, they're showing exactly what the officials are looking at. And see, the one ref pointed at the ball as it's starting to come out. And now they've got like a split screen with the two coaches, and they go off of it for some reason. Maybe that was too much inside information being shown on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
But the one referee pointed right at the ball as he's trying Falls to secure it in his arm, and that's the last replay they looked at. So based on that point, I think he was saying, see, the ball's coming out.
And they don't like to overturn him.
The ruling on the field is confirmed.
Yes.
Fumble by the offense, recovered by the defense. First down, Tampa Bay. New Orleans is charged with its second timeout of the half.
Second timeout, that's also big.
That is really going to cost him.
And how about it being Dawkins not just making the tackle with his left arm, but then forcing the fumble out with the right. Unbelievable play.
Yeah, and that was a good call, definitely. A good non-call, I should say. So the Storm has it 1st and 10 at their own 2-yard line. And Chris DeVault is the motion man on the left side.
We were bemoaning.
Is still holding it here for
bemoaning the fourth down conversions. That's all they've been able to do is not get it to fourth down, turn it over before
Here we go, and quick throw on the near side, looking for a little running room. They only get about a yard on it this time as he gets the ball to Emery Salmons.
I should say that was the right thing for the coach Coquinos to do, challenge that. And I also should say, if it had not been ruled a fumble on the field, I think that would have been upheld. That's how close it was.
Yeah, either way.
So that's the break that the Storm need. Now they have to obviously cash in.
We got a 2nd and 9 now. Storm's got to take advantage of the fact they got that stop out of the end zone and a battle over that ball. And we do have interference call. We got one-on-one, so to speak. They're number 1 against number 1. And we got to figure out what they're going to call. That was Cortez Stubbs against T.T. Tolliver and we got the flags.
Yeah, well, that's as obvious as 1 + 1 = pass interference.
Pass interference. Yep. Defense, number 1. 10-yard penalty.
Good break.
Automatic. First down.
Takes the ball out to the 13-yard line. 1st and 10 from their own 13. So they've got some maneuvering room now.
Storm have had the ball. This will be their 6th possession. Their 7th possession. They're 4 for 6, but one of the stops, if you will, they only had 27 seconds to work with it.
1st and 10 at the 13, and Boltus back, complete to Tolliver on the near side, and Tolliver is taken out of bounds after a gain of 8 yards out to the 21-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and 2.
TT has been the safety outlet for Jason Boltus tonight. That's going to be his 6th catch. He's getting up towards close to 100 yards and the 1 touchdown. But several times now when there was good coverage by the Voodoo, Tolliver has made himself available underneath, and Boltus has sort of chucked it out there using the strength of that right arm of his.
2nd and 2 at their own 21 for the Storm, moving left to right. Boltus back, going for the end zone touchdown.
Unbelievable.
It's Ings with a great catch in the left back corner of the end zone.
That was amazing. I thought he didn't see it until the ball hit his hand, because he turned left, turned around, and he was being draped. That's another thing that was prohibiting his ability to make that catch. Cameron McGlenn on the coverage, but what a catch and what a throw.
That coverage was about as good as it gets, but the throw was perfect, right over the shoulders of the DB and into the hands of Ings. So the Storm takes advantage on this one and going for the 35th point now, Craig Peterson. And he nails it. So we got a 35-28 game with 2:18 to go in the 3rd period, and this is Storm Radio.
When was the last time you...
Some interesting protoplasm on the screen.
Jack, you know we are on the air, right? Just making sure.
We're ready to go. The kickoff here. Back deep is the guy who scored a TD earlier, and that's Larry Beavers. And here's the kick, and it's out of play. Through the screen, out of play. That'll bring it out to the 5-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Voodoo, moving right to left.
By the way, we mentioned all the football and arena football scores today, but I have mentioned the Rays in baseball. They won. They actually won.
3-0 to end a 6-game losing streak.
Yes, and good pitching by Erasmo Ramirez. If you would have told me which pitcher would end the damage, I would have picked him last. But while we're there and while we've got a short break in the action here, also letting you know what's going on else in arena football and how it affects the Storm. Of course, the Cleveland Gladiators lost last night, so the Storm, if they win tonight, will only be a half game behind them, which sounds great until you realize Cleveland's beaten the Storm twice. It actually would have been nice for Cleveland to beat Orlando, but Orlando, man, ever since they came here, the Storm should have beaten them there in Orlando, and they pulled it out. They have 2 convincing wins since then, including over Cleveland, so they are off and running. The Predators are now 6-4. Jacksonville will play LA tomorrow, which has not won a game, so you have to imagine it's going to be Orlando 6-4, Jacksonville 5-5, and then we hope the Storm at 4-5 with 2 games left. The fact that Arizona is Nick Davila less certainly helps the Storm. The guy that got in for him, his name's Coleman, is just very average, but they have a good defense.
Yep. Well, here we go with the Voodoo now, and Brian Reeder at quarterback, and a flat pass again on the far side. It's complete to Johnny Lester, who picks up 5 yards, picks up half the distance here. It'll be 2nd and 5.
I don't know if I'm a big fan.
Ball at the 10-yard line.
If I'm a New Orleans receiver, if I'm a big fan of those swing passes leading me right into an oncoming defender.
Yeah, that's a tough way to get hit over there by that wall. And Reeder takes the snap, getting good protection, and gets it down to Chris Duvault, moving from left to right. And he's taken out of bounds, but not before he gets the first down at the 17-yard line. Their own 17 for the Voodoo, right to left in this quarter. We're down to 1:15 to go in the quarter with a Storm ahead 35-28, but New Orleans trying to tie it up again.
Yeah, considering New Orleans has not scored this quarter, Jack, it just seems like the game is still very much in the balance.
Oh, it certainly is that. All 3 receivers to the right, and they tried a screen to Cornelius Dixon, and he was running before he got the ball, and it bounced off his hands. You had all 3 receivers on the right, and then you had a screen on the left to the big guy, Cornelius Dixon, who is 6'6" and 345 out of Missouri Valley College in his 5th season.
Yeah, I know as a quarterback you're used to leading the receiver, but you can't really lead Cornelius Dixon. You pretty much got to throw it right to him.
Yeah, and he's a pretty big target.
And he has 0 catches this year.
Yeah.
Stuck on that number after that effort.
Not the great hands that you want. Reeder throws a pick, and it is... Let's see, who got that ball?
Rick J. Hill.
It's Rick J. Hill got the ball. We do have a flag back here, though. Let's see what the flag's going to be. And
now there's a flag in the offensive backfield as if it were going to be a late hit on the quarterback, but that's got to be after the interception. Yeah, Reeder's going off the field. That's got to be after the interception. Let's hope.
After the interception.
Thank you.
Personal foul on the returning team, number 94. 10-yard penalty. First down, Tampa Bay.
That made me nervous because that flag appeared to have come out after the pick by Rick J. Hill. Great job at his jack linebacker position of getting that first pick of the year for him. He's come close a couple times. He's skied for a couple balls and wasn't able to put them away, but that time he did. Actually would have been better for the Storm if he'd just gone down on the play, but they'll take the ball, believe me, here as the third quarter's about to run out.
Oh, they certainly will. We're down to 13 seconds to go, and the clock stopped right now. And I'm not sure what the changes in lineup are all about. Some people a little upset out there, but they're going to get penalized, but they keep the ball. They get to keep the ball after the pick by Rick J. Hill.
Yeah, that was fantastic work by Rick J. Hill. The penalty was foolish, but if you look at field positions, really, that's no big deal. You're on 5 yards on one side of midfield. You would have been 5 yards on the other. No big deal. But it was silly. It was a little extracurricular on the quarterback. Hey, we got a chance to block the quarterback. Let's make him pay kind of thing when there was no need to do it. I think the Storm should let the clock run out, and the refs actually are going to notice the clock running out this time.
Yeah.
Unlike last week's hideous end of the third quarter.
It has run out. That's the end of the third quarter as Tampa Bay takes over the ball after the pick, and it's Storm 35, Voodoo. I'm not familiar with it.
We're going to talk about Terpsichorean, throwing a little Calipigiousness.
Here we go. It is Boltus trying to go long, and Tolliver is sitting on his butt down there about 10 yards away from him, and he threw it all the way into the end zone. And I mean, there was nobody within 25 yards of that ball, defenders or offensive players.
Yeah, basically Tolliver fell down and Boltus threw it away. That's the long and the short of that one. That's on first down, you can afford that to have happen.
Yeah. Now it's 2nd and 10 at their own 21. And Boltus up under center. And a throw on the far side of the flat, and that one goes to Julius Gregory, and Gregory gets it to the 21 of the Voodoo.
Fighting for every yard there. He also got a nice block. Oh, speaking of nice, I'll take that mark. Yeah, it should have been 3 yards shy of the marker. It's 2 yards shy. Emery Sammons was the man that had the block there for Gregory. If he doesn't make that block, it's about a 5-yard gain instead of what turned out to be an 8-yard gain.
And it'll be 3rd and 2 now at the 21 of the Voodoo.
This has been Gregory.
Oliver loops around in motion into the slot, and Boltus looking and throwing, and incomplete. Too far for Tolliver to handle. And now it's going to be a 4th down. Big 4th down play here with 2 yards to go. And do you throw it, or do you?
You definitely throw it. In the Storm, this is the one play that they showed us one time tonight, but they don't just seem to have it in their repertoire. And that's to, I know it's boring, but have your man that's lined up inside, slant, maybe 2-3 steps, and just throw it to him. And that's the position that Sammons is in right now. And McGlynn is far enough off him that they should hit Sammons here.
Now let's see if that's the case. And up and in and out of the hands of Julius Gregory.
Sammons was wide open.
They turn it over, so the pick is for naught. They do not capitalize on it, and this is still going to be quite a ball game here. A 35-28 lead by the Storm.
Goodness gracious.
And we'll keep it right here. Don't forget, we're going to be back home in 2 weeks. And that's going to be, let's see, that'll be a Friday night game against Jacksonville. And it's at 7 p.m. for Sunshine State Showdown with the Sharks. And tickets available by calling 800-745-3000. Here's Reeder, Brian Reeder, dropping back now and almost getting caught. And he completes a pass to Chris DeVault that eats up. Well, they might go on and give him a 1st down on that. Let's see what they call. And Chris DeVault, for a second, they thought he was injured, but he's okay. And that'll move the sticks. It's going to be a 1st and 10 at the Storm 19 now for New Orleans.
Man, when you had it 3rd and short, just run a safe play and get the 1st down. I'm a little stunned at the Storm not being able to just get 2 simple yards there on 2 plays.
Yeah, that's tough. And it's going to get tougher as the weeks go on. Reeder, and throws it complete to Jackson, Roger Jackson, and he takes it all the way down to the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd and a couple. 2nd and 1, actually.
Coverage has been pretty decent tonight for the Storm all the way around. New Orleans has mixed it up nicely on offense.
Yeah, they've done some good play calling over there. Dean Kokinas.
They're definitely signaling for the run right now.
Yep. Let's see if they're going to go to the big guy Falls. Nope, they didn't. And a little short pass in the flat and picks up a lot of yardage to Roger Jackson. They're going to have a 1st and goal all the way down at the 3-yard line.
Goodness gracious. The Voodoo's receivers keep getting their helmets knocked off.
Yeah, they sure do. That's the 3rd time a Voodoo receiver has lost his helmet. Or the 3rd time a player has lost his helmet. I think 2 receivers and somebody else had one ripped off one time. 1st and goal at the 3 for New Orleans. And a pitch out to the big guy, and he ain't going nowhere this time. He loses at least a yard, maybe a couple of yards. They're going to be spotted at the 4-yard line.
New Orleans does not like to throw the ball once they get inside the 5-yard line.
They sure don't. And for the most part, Tampa Bay has been pretty effective against Roosevelt Falls, although he has scored once tonight. But he's carried it a bunch of times.
Al Phillips, the defensive back, the safety in the middle there, came up with that initial stop. Big play there.
It sure was. And Lester loops around to the right side, and Reeder is looking for his man and overthrows him. Chris DeVault got wide open in the back right-hand corner of the end zone, but Reeder overthrew him. That's a good break for Tampa Bay. That'll make it 3rd and goal. If they can get a stop here, it would be huge. It would.
It's almost asking too much. I mean, New Orleans hasn't scored this quarter or this half, Jack, and we're at under 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're 9:44 and clock ticking here. 9:44 left in the game. And the Storm up by a TD, and New Orleans trying to tie it right now. Reeder goes back. Good protection, great protection. He's going to try to run it in, and he ain't going to be able to. And we got a flag in the backfield. Let's see what that's going to be.
Well, that can't be illegal defense. He rolled out.
No.
maybe an eligible man downfield. No, this is going to go against the Storm. I didn't see anything here.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I know...
he ran the ball. You're allowed to move out of the box if that's what they're calling it on Rick J. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either on that. Let's see what the official says.
There's no foul in the play for illegal defense. The quarterback ran the ball.
Good. There you go. You got it. You called it, Derek.
Well, this is amazing because if you think back to the first time New Orleans was here, Jack, it was 14-13 Storm at half, and they finally got it going late in the third quarter. And eventually New Orleans never scored in the second half. So I'm telling you, if they can keep it out of the end zone here, I like the chances of a repeat.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. And 4th and goal at the 3. And let's see if they're going to go to Roosevelt Falls or try to throw it in, or what's going to happen here.
Watch the little reverse play.
Yep, that reverse has hurt him tonight. And it's not going to happen this time. They're going to try to throw it in, and it's hit at the line, but are they going to call interference?
The Storm have just got to quit bailing New Orleans out. They've done it 3 times now.
They did it there. It's going to be a 1st and goal at the 2.
Pass interference. Defense, number 13. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, Tampa Bay just gave them that touchdown for sure. I can't believe that. You can't do that unless it looks like there's going to be.
Yeah, you got to call it.
A finger on that. Yeah, that was a good call.
He tackled him before he got the ball. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
That was Spoto on Lake Gibson there.
Yeah.
Addison on Duvall.
And here we go for the TD. No, they're going to say he went down before he got to the goal line, apparently.
I thought he got in.
I thought he got in there, but they got another few times to do it. It was an end around for Roger Jackson.
And even if he didn't get in, Lester, and even if he didn't get in,
I'm sorry, yeah.
They're not going to challenge it because already, remember, New Orleans is down to 1 timeout.
Yeah.
They had to use one on offense, and then a challenge that didn't go their way.
I don't know why.
So I think
so much trouble with those numbers 18 and 19. It's the 3rd or 4th time I've blown that number call.
19's got the dreads.
Yeah.
Jackson.
I'm a number reader, not a hair reader. And we have a flag.
Oh, this helps. This helps.
This is going to move them back 5.
This really helps.
Full start. Offense, number 77.
That's 5 yards.
5-yard penalty.
And that'll take them back to the 6-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 6.
Well, fortuitous, maybe a good sign.
He got in there. Yeah, that's a good thing they stopped that one because I think he got in there. Well, we got another chance to stiffen up that defense. 2nd and goal from just across the 5-yard line. We'll call it 2nd and goal from the 5. And it's going to be Lester in motion. All 3 receivers to the left, and Reeder takes the snap, looking into the end zone and throwing. And the pass is complete to Jackson, but he didn't make it to the end zone. Gets it down to the 2-yard line, and he's grabbed.
What I need to know is did he bobble the ball? Okay, no, he held it the whole way, so that's going to keep him closer to the 1-yard line, 2-yard line. Because I thought maybe he had lost control of it in the air and therefore would have been closer to the 4. Still good coverage to stick him right as he caught it by the Storm.
And it's going to be 3rd and goal at the 2. The attendance, by the way, is great. 13,500. 13,581. That's great. Here we go. A couple of big plays coming up. We hope a couple of big plays coming up.
Yeah, really. Oh, we'll take that.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if it's going to be defense. And offense is pointing at defense, but that guy moved ahead of time. So
Cornelius Dixon is 345 pounds. He's not going to do that without anyone noticing.
And it's against New Orleans.
Offense, number 12.
Delay a game.
Really?
I didn't even see that.
That's before the movement. That's crazy. Well, the tight end moved as well, Cornelius Dixon. This drive, by the way, started exactly now 6 minutes ago. And if they don't score, that's fine with the Storm.
Oh, yeah. The more clock that's gone, the better. We got 6:45 to go in the ball game. The Storm up 35-28, and New Orleans trying to tie it right here. And they got a 3rd and goal from the 7 now. 3rd and goal from the 7. Reeder takes it, drops back, lobs it into the end zone, and they got their touchdown. And that was Chris Duvall who takes it in the back of the end zone.
That was all Chris Duval. I mean, the coverage has been good, but he would not allow himself to get covered there. He boosted.
He might have gotten hurt. He might have gotten hurt. Let's see. No, he's okay.
And then he had to go up for the ball. He was open most of the way through. Ooh, you know what? Yeah, I was going to say that he might not have gotten the second foot in bounds. We just need one. So that's all it mattered. Yep.
Yeah, and he hit that
he was in bounds
went down on his back. That was definitely a good catch.
Absolutely.
He got it. And players trying to get off the field now, and they do. And the kick is missed. That could be huge. Garrett Lindholm misses the kick, and the Storm maintain the lead at 35-34 with 5:52 to go in the ball game.
Thinking it's at least a possibility they're bringing the up man, Emery Salmons, onto the 10-yard line, so it's just by his lonesome. Rick J. Hill, by the way, not Kendrick Ings.
He kicks it away, and it's off the screen.
Geez. Just get the ball.
Bouncing around now. Oh, beautiful. Jeez. What a break they got on that. The ball was kicked out of bounds by Larry Beavers coming down to cover on the thing, and if he'd have grabbed that thing, they'd have had a touchdown.
That was terrible. Rick J. Hill covered that ball like he was the up man. He didn't attack it. He waited for it to bounce again when he didn't have that time or that luxury. Kendrick.
Charge by phone at 800-745-3000. Do not miss Sam Smith. This is Storm Football.
We are ready to go here with the Storm with the ball at the 5-yard line. They've got a 1st and 10 moving from right to left as we observe it here from the press box at the Amalie Arena. And back is Boltis. And almost threw a pick that time. As who was that? Who almost got that thing? Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Storm Radio.
1250 wins. WHNZ, Tampa Bay. Available everywhere you want to listen on our free iHeartRadio app. Download it now.
Glenn almost got that ball.
The Storm really just need to get a first down to get it to the 1-minute warning. And remember, New Orleans only has one timeout. A first down might just end this game.
Yep. Here's a pass that's complete on the far side. He gets it into the hands of Julius Gregory, but it was only a couple of yards.
This was the same thing against Orlando a couple weeks ago when the Storm, the spread was different. It was two touchdown lead, 4:20 to go. And in that circumstance, just get a first down and it's over. Same thing here because of the timeout situation. Because New Orleans can only stop the clock one more time. Get it. Just get to the 15-yard line, and this game is practically yours.
Yep, you're right. And here we go with 7 yards to go, and they get it. They get it.
That's all they needed to do.
And they put it into the hands of Julius Gregory, is the guy from Shaw University or college or whatever it is up in North Carolina.
I know it sounds simplistic, but now, all right, maybe just one more first down after that.
Yeah, they'll need one more first down. One more first down will do it, I think.
Because even if you just run these 3 plays, you get down to the 1-minute warning, and again at that point you just advance the ball because New Orleans has the one timeout, and that's all.
Yeah, and
they can run the clock out is what I'm trying to say.
Max out the clock here for sure, and good protection, great protection. Oh wow, there was Julius Gregory apparently was the intended receiver, and he's complaining that they were holding him back down there, and the 2 New Orleans players were the closest to the ball, but fortunately he overthrew them.
Man, oh man, that's why I was groaning because, okay, overthrow the ball, that's fine. The clock runs. But he almost lofted it so much that it got to one of the defensive backs.
Yeah, you checked that out earlier, Shaw University, but it is university and not college, and they're the Shaw University Bears. That means they're naked. Here we go. It is Boltis back, and goodness. Incomplete pass to the usually dependable T.T. Tolliver. And honest to goodness, that was a sure case of a guy running before he caught the ball, looking to where he was going, because you could see his head turned and he looked upfield and was starting to go with it, and it bounced off his fingertips. That would have been the
And he was absolutely, listen, we said get another first down and it's over. He was absolutely looking upfield before he caught that ball.
Yep.
Head was turned completely away from the ball, where all he needed to do was catch it, and it's a first down. And that's all he needed to do, not look upfield.
Here we go with a 3rd and 10. This could be an exciting game yet, and they pick up a big bunch of it here, but not enough to go all the way to Emory Salmons.
This is crazy, Jack.
And that means we're down to a crucial 4th down play with 2:30 to go, 2.5 minutes left in the ball game, and it's going to be a 4th and 2 at the 24-yard line at their own 24.
Storm are doing their absolute darndest to make this way more difficult than it needs to be.
They brought Roosevelt Falls in on defense. That's interesting. Playing both ways tonight.
Oh, yeah, he's usually out there on D.
Here we go. Here's the snap and offsides.
That is going to be on the Storm, I think, on TT.
Yeah, he crossed the line before the snap. That was a blatant one. They usually don't call that. Yeah, that happens so often, but that was very blatant.
Golly, this is terrible, Jack.
They're just falling apart here now. And that's going to bring him back, and it'll be a 4th.
That drop on 2nd down was absolutely hideous. And listen, we love TT, and normally he's very sure-handed, so...
It's going to be a 4th and 12 now. This is a very crucial play. We're down to 150, and this will be the last play before the 1-minute warning. And it needs to be... Well, they're going to be in great shape to score if they don't complete this one. Let's see. Boltis is back under heavy pressure. He's looking, flags all over the field, and an incomplete pass.
I think the Storm are going to get a break here with illegal defense.
Well, if that's illegal defense, that'll be fantastic.
I don't think it's an automatic first down, but I see another flag in the offensive backfield. The Storm might have overtaken it by holding on offense.
There are 4 flags out there.
Let's hope it's 3 different calls, 2 against New Orleans. But I think illegal D is 1. I'm afraid holding on the Storm might be another.
Well, let's see what the call is. They're masticating the...
Excuse me?
Chewing the fat down there.
Both teams fouled in the play. Holding, offense number 71. Pass interference, defense number 1.
Offsetting
illegal
penalties.
Defense number 21. All those fouls offset. Replay, 4th down.
So 2 for 1 doesn't count.
So Tampa Bay is a winner on that one. Kendrick Ings is upper body injury. That's why he's not out there, and he's not going to get back into the game. But they get a break. That's a break for Tampa Bay.
No, I disagree. I think if they don't hold the ball there, first of all, it's 2 penalties to 1, so I think it should have been Storm went out. But also, if they don't hold when there was no need to, because Boltis was out of the pocket by the time they held, it's first down Storm. This just does not feel good.
Yeah, I know, but at least they get another crack at it here, because that was an incomplete pass. Boltis is back, got to make 12 yards, and it is knocked down.
Told you it didn't feel good.
Beautiful Cortez Stubbs breaks that pass up to T.T. Tolliver, and we're down to the 1-minute warning, and the ball's going to go over to New Orleans, and this is not a good thing. Do we have a flag over there?
I wish.
No, no flag,
warning.
unfortunately.
Oh, it's not the 1-minute warning yet because of change of possession. The clock will.
You're right. They stop at 1:03.
The clock will run, though, here before, once they basically set the ball.
Yeah,
so
once the ball is set, it'll go to 1 minute. So we'll go on and take our break here as we're now at 1 minute. And the score is 35-34. The Storm in front, but New Orleans has got the ball, and they're even in position for a field goal. But this is Storm Radio. Had the game iced because
they would have, because
Voodoo has only 2 timeouts left. One timeout left. Yeah, that would have been it really. And now New Orleans in a position to win the ball game. Here we go. Reeder takes the snap. Oh, he gets hit as he delivers the ball. That was a great hit on Reeder as he threw that ball, and the pass is incomplete. It'll be a second. Of course, they can get a stop here. And they're back in decent shape again.
And they would probably try a field goal. You have to, and their kicker's good, even though Garrett Lindholm missed the extra point.
Yeah.
And that helps because it didn't require a timeout by the Storm. Any completion is going to require the Storm at this juncture to call timeout. They have to have as much time left on that clock if New Orleans scores.
And the good thing, they have all 3 of their timeouts, but they don't want to use them on defense. better. They have incomplete passes to stop that clock. And here's Reeder rolling out. Good coverage on that. And into the stands. Another incomplete. And that'll stop the clock with 51 seconds to go.
So unless the Voodoo attain a first down, which they can, they are at the 14. Obviously, getting inside the 4 would do that. The Storm are going to have plenty of time. That's a good thing.
The Storm coverage has been pretty good here now.
Absolutely. And no unnecessary pass interference when the pass was not going to be complete either.
Yeah, that's one thing you do not want to do now is commit a penalty. If you do, you give away the ball game.
Totally
it is given away.
Absolutely. Good point. No jumping
all
off
but
sides.
over. There we go. Reeder is back into the end zone.
Illegal defense.
Illegal defense.
I think
going to go back to New Orleans.
Wait. The Storm are all pointing towards New Orleans. Let's hope to God they're right.
Let's certainly hope so. I know Lawrence Samuels is listening. He's happy. So that's good.
Holding. Offense number 33.
James Harrell, you are the man.
Oh, man. And that gives the game to the Storm. It is all but over now. And I've said that before, but I think we said that in the Orlando game when they were up by 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
James Harrell, again, with a massive, massive interception.
That guy he's just unbelievable. And he did not, let's see, did he get Defensive Player of the Game?
Yeah,
he got Defensive Player of the Game, and he punctuated that with that interception. That is fantastic.
So with 46 seconds, New Orleans can stop the clock once on a timeout. I'm sorry, there's a player hurt on the field, and we're blabbing away here. My fault.
I didn't notice that. It's one of our guys. Oh, pardon me, we're neutral. It's one of the Storm players.
Man.
Lawrence is going over to take a look.
And get the
Dr. Susan Welsh isn't here tonight. Her backup is out there.
Get the Tampa Bay chant going on here. Hadn't heard that in a while. I like it. But yeah, on that play, sorry to interject there because I thought for sure those flags were in the area of defensive illegal defense because they were in the defensive backfield. And it is James Harrell.
It's Harrell.
I think he.
Oh man.
Let's hope that's just a cramp.
Yeah, it's his left leg or foot, and he is hopping out there on the right one. Man, they can ill afford to lose that guy.
They just got him to the bench. Now he's walking on his own. Let's see if they treat him. He's getting a lot of pats on the back, and he's getting instant water, so I'm pretty sure that's just a cramp. And if you've been out there a lot running around. Now the Storm with 46 seconds left and New Orleans with 1 timeout basically need to get the ball forward on these next 3 plays.
Yep, and
good job.
And they do it on the first one.
There's the timeout.
Timeout by New Orleans, and that's their last timeout.
And actually, Jack, with this amount of time, they really only need to get it forward on one of the next 2
Third
plays.
and final timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
That will bite up 30 seconds. And then if you look at 41 seconds left in the game, I told you, man, using that timeout, when they took it, that first timeout, New Orleans had a delay of game that they were facing. This was the first drive for them in the 3rd quarter. And they used up a timeout to save it at the time. 5 yards. I think they were maybe at around the 6. I'm sorry, you got to eat it there and just take the 5-yard penalty because you're going to need the timeouts in a close game anyway. And now New Orleans is wishing it had that other timeout. And the other one, by the way, was on a replay challenge on what turned out to be the highlight of the game. We voted for it, and that turned out to be what the media in full agreed was the highlight of the game, and that was the forced fumble by Everett Dawkins at the 1-yard line. They challenged it because it looked like maybe the runner still had control of the ball.
Second and 9, but of course what's critical here is not making a first. Oh, they got a penalty.
That doesn't really hurt. That doesn't really hurt.
It doesn't do anything. It uses a little more. Couple of seconds there.
The Storm commit a penalty there. It's going to back them up to the 4, but as long as they go forward, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Ball start. Offense, number 2. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
And by the way, what is Julius Gregory, a receiver, doing there? Tight bunch formation and decides to get an early jump when there was no need to. The only person that needs to get an early jump is Jason Boltis.
Yeah. And the ball comes back to the 4-yard line. And we're at 41 seconds now. 2nd and 13, although, again, that doesn't matter. The key is, can you advance the ball here? And let's see if they do it again. I'm sure they're going to do it with Boltis again. And you got a flag again. And
I think we might get offsides on New Orleans.
I think they did advance it. It looks like it might have advanced. The clock is stopped because of the flag at 37 seconds.
I don't think he got the ball forward. If he did, he barely did. We'll guess by Kokonos' reaction here whether it's against his team or not. He's not happy.
Well, they haven't moved the markers, so apparently they did not. And he's talking with the officials, and now Lawrence Samuels joins in the conversation.
It's funny in arena
Samuels
football,
is
Jack.
not happy.
It's funny in arena football where you don't have measurements. If it's close, it counts. This is the only time where it actually does count.
It does.
The ball is close or not to the, in this case, line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and they really need to do it here.
Okay, if the penalty's on the Storm, but the Storm advanced the ball, then they have to take the penalty.
Well, let's see what the...
Actually, if they start marking this off, it's good. That means that the Storm advanced the ball.
And they're still down there, again, masticating the adipose. That's chewing the fat about it. Whoops, he lost it.
Legal formation. Offense, number 2. Half of this to the goal.
Okay.
Second down. Clock will start on the snap.
And wait, don't forget to put
start on the snap.
Don't forget to put the time back on the clock. Absolutely. Yeah, 41.
Yeah. And he just told the official that. The official is going to pass that word on.
Yeah. Someone in the crowd got caught on the jumbotron.
Please reset the game clock to 41 seconds.
41 seconds. This is going to be quite a task here. They have got to move that ball. And I know the safe thing to do is let the quarterback try to do it, but...
Well, if you go forward, you're not going to get a safety. I mean, it's simple. It's a 2-yard line. Now, if they commit a couple more penalties, I'm going to start to get nervous because it's a 1-point game.
Yeah.
And a safety makes it,
2-point.
And New Orleans 36-35. Yeah. Let's not have a bad snap here also. Now that I'm starting to get nervous, and I'm going to throw that in there.
Well, the scary thing is whether or not he can advance the ball. We know we're going to try it again, and he got it this time.
Helmet's off. Jeez.
Oh, man. I hope he's okay. Yeah, he's okay.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, he seems to be okay. They're pulling him up.
And that's it. The game clock is
27, 26, 25.
That's ball game.
It's going to be, the game clock. That's the ball game because the play clock hadn't even started yet.
Boy, that was the toughest advance the ball on 2 plays in a row.
Why haven't they started? Yeah, they're all congratulating each other, and that's the ball game. And the Storm win it 35-34, a low-scoring game.
Wow,
and
man.
That's amazing, 35-34. In the first game here against New Orleans, it was a 42-13 contest with the Storm winning.
Well, they got 6 points in the second half this time, 0 in the second half the first time around.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it was not easy, man. It was not easy. And we said it right in the middle of the second quarter when on back-to-back plays we had a pick and a touchdown. And by the way, New Orleans, a team that this year, Jack,